Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we have entered into the June month. So we have additionally, apart from commemorations, international commemorations, we have monthly, weekly, and also daily commemorations. So today, is Global Day of Parents. The UN General Assembly declared the first ever Global Day of Parents in 2012. Since then, it has been held annually on June 1st to honor parental units around the world. So being a parent is one of the most universal experiences, but it's definitely not a walk in the park. So it has challenges long before kids are even born, with many complications resulting from pregnancy. Just having a healthy parent is something to be grateful for. And while many of us didn't appreciate being nagged to clean our rooms, someone had to help us fight off the dust bunny invasion. Honestly, if we had never learned to handle tiny responsibilities like that, we would have no hope of coping with the adult world. So let's use this day to say thanks to first our teachers and nurturers. And if you happen to be a parent, you yourself a big pat on back. Seriously. So the value of parents and parenthood is celebrated on Global Day of Parents on June 1st. And parents are a beacon of a child's life. They lay the foundation for the children and nurture and equip them with the skills that are necessary throughout life. Parents protect their children and make countless selfless sacrifices to ensure their growth. On this day, let's all express our gratitude to the parents for all and they have done for them. Our relationship with our parents is the most important and true bond that most of us will ever have. And our parents' dedication towards us is respected and cherished on this day. Those of us who have friendship with our parents and are able to have a healthy relationship based on trust and respect rather than authority or strict guardianship are lucky. It is a truly blessing to have good parents. It goes both ways, with parents also recognizing that they have a primary responsibility towards their offspring and also the importance of their roles in the development of their children. It is essential for a child to grow up in a healthy environment with healthy boundaries, and parents are the best role models for that. Studies show that trauma and emotional wounds sustained by a child greatly hinders their development and outlook on life and are an overall barrier to achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. It may not seem much at face value, but parenting has an impact on economic prosperity and social development. During 1980s, the United Nations started to focus on issues related to family and how the emotional and mental well-being of a child branches out into other spheres of development on a large scale. On December 9, 1989, the General Assembly passed a resolution that proclaimed the year 1994 as the International Year of the Family. In another resolution in 1993, May 15th was decided as on the day for the observance of the International Day of the Families every year. On September 17, 2012, the United Nations declared June 1st as the observance of Global Day of Parents. The day aims to stimulate awareness of the importance of parenthood and its role providing protection and the tools needed for positive development in children. Parents are, after all, the first teachers and human interaction that a child is exposed to. Community leaders, parents, children, teachers, and family organizations get together in celebrating the day and promoting effective parenting. Campaigns and educational programs are widely hosted for parents to encourage stability within nuclear families. Related organizations also use this day to promote the model of two-parent nuclear family. Parenting magazine, its circulation reached more than 2.2 million before its final issue was released in 2013, and this make a debut since 1987. The National Parents' Day resolution was introduced in the House of Representatives by establishing fourth Sunday in July as National Parents' Day. The UN General Assembly declares 1994 as the International Year of Family, from where it started since 1994. The quintessential movie about the parent-child relationship was released with the name The Parent Trap in 1998. There are more than 5 million households which are run by children. The number of older adults, parents living in households run by adult children are 5 to 6 million. The percentage of baby boomers financially supporting their aging parents is about 25%. The percentage of millennials who are financially responsible are around 20%. The percentage of children who help out aging parents are about 58%. The percentage of adult children with at least one 65-year-old parent who has provided a form of sweat equity for them by running errands, doing housework, or making home repairs are about 58%. So the number of preschool children in America who were cared by a grandparent in 2011 is about 4.8 million. And the percentage of grandparents who take care of children under the age of 5 is about 23.7%. So the Global Day of Parents, which is an United Nations commemoration, is observed every year on June 1st to honor parents and their commitments to children worldwide, as already discussed. It reminds us to respect others. One of the first things we were taught as kids is to respect others, especially our elders. Even though for the same reason, many parents don't like being referred to as elders, but respect isn't only for those who are older than us. Regardless of age, it's something that has to be earned. Our parents have supported us through the ups and downs, all while dealing with their own personal issues. Parents actually have personal lives. Needless to say, they deserve some respect. Time and time again, research shows that children benefit from having fathers play an active role in their lives. It's easy for dads to stay out of the spotlight and let moms take over parenting duty. But today's a reminder that a little interaction go a long way. Politics and business might not be the best topics of conversation, assuming your kids can say those words to begin with, but everyone understands a smile and a game of catch. Parenting is really a team game. Even if you are a single parent, it doesn't hurt to have some reinforcement. But to form the best team, we have to recognize that both men and women play an equal part. So whether the helping hands are spouses, friends, or relatives, everyone has to split time between being a breadwinner and caretaker. Today is also commemorated as Intergenerational Day in Canada. We are seeing an increasing gap between old people and young. In order to reduce and close the gap, Intergenerational Day on June 1st was created to bring different generations together by helping them see the similar connections they have with each other. It is also a way to reduce loneliness, depression, anxiety, and stress that people of all ages experience. Of course, medical attention and treatment will likely cure such illness along with psychosocial support. However, at the same time, studies have shown that having someone to talk helps as well. Old people tend to be at a stage in their lives where they are not usually busy with the things that they have taken up much of their time before family and work. Young people, on the other hand, would have so much going on their lives that they would need a guiding hand to see them through. So this is where the Intergenerational Day comes into the play to fill the generational gap. The idea for Intergenerational Day came to a teacher from British Columbia in Canada in 2009. The teacher was working with students on projects related to World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Students were being taught about the respect, care, and love for the elders in society deserve, and within 1 year, the passion for projects gained so much momentum that 2010 saw their first Intergenerational Day being celebrated. The concept for the day was taken up by the I2I Intergenerational Society and 5 other school groups from Quebec, Manitoba, Ontario, Newfoundland, and British Columbia. The I2I is a non-profit society that helps people and organizations promote initiatives related to connecting the elderly and the young. Since the day inception in 2010, it has been celebrated in 12 territories and more than 100 cities. In fact, the day is viewed with so much importance that Toronto District School Board has mandated it through law. Years of research have shown the lack of care and attention to our elders will leave generation feeling depressed and developing physical and mental ailments. If a society's elders are neglected, the younger generation will have a lot to lose in the form of culture, history, life experiences, and empathetic skills. Therefore, we must take care of generations that need the most. By helping the old and new connect, we are securing our past, present, and future. You can also play your part on this day by visiting old age homes and spending time with elders. Humans at the core of it do not require elaborate displays of affection. All require is social connection with someone ready to listen and be with them, and intergenerational reiterates this message loud and clear. People from the healthcare activism and education sectors come together to form the I2I Intergenerational Society to help connect different generations. The I2I Intergenerational Society and school districts celebrate the first intergenerational day since 2010. Sociologists state that regular intergenerational interaction forms strong bonds and unity in a society in 2011. Researchers show that intergenerational interaction leads to positive outcomes in the child rearing. And the old age groups are on the rise. By 2030 till 2050. Many regions in the world will have more old age groups between 50 and 70 than young age groups of 10 to 30. So having intergenerational solidarity allows for the exchange of ideas based on experiences and knowledge, both of which are essential for a society to develop. Having positive intergenerational communication can lead to about 90% of the elders feeling mentally and physically. Through intergenerational interaction, a society can ensure a healthier and better future for generations to come. And it's also a celebration of empathy, has become the humanity's biggest weapon against all problems. If we learn to empathize with others, we will not only become better human beings, but we will also be able to establish a stronger society for today and tomorrow. Today is also commemorated as International Children's Day in United States and is an initiative for children's well-being and rights. This day is celebrated as part of a greater cause that revolves around ending child abuse, ending the deprivation of children of their rights, and making efforts to improve the lives of children all around the world. Not to be confused with the Universal Children's Day, which is celebrated in November. International Children's Day is almost identical to its counterpart, the only difference being that it is celebrated in June. It is a commemorative day in the honor of children worldwide, celebrated as part of 1925 proclamation in Geneva at the World Conference on Child Welfare. The day is observed on different dates in different parts of the world. Even in India, we have Children's Day celebrated on November 14th. Some countries celebrate in June, some in November, but the aim of the day has always been same. So since Industrial Revolution and the world wars that followed, it was observed that children have been severely abused, oppressed, and deprived of basic human rights. Being weak and timid, they could easily be forced into oppression and unjust, unethical, and immoral activities. They were exploited and manipulated. Millions of them were found to be malnourished, And all these discoveries were highlighted through the Geneva Conference so that world leaders decided to protect children worldwide. In the developed countries of the time, immediate action was taken to improve the conditions for children. While in developing countries, funds were made and donations were given by donor agencies for the social development of the people and children in these places. Various campaigns were organized and social calls were made for volunteers to arrive and help in the development. Among these activities, the main areas which were given the most importance were child education, nourishment, anti-human trafficking activities, as well as stopping child labor. All these initiatives combined and a day dedicated to spreading awareness on child protection and child rights was warranted, and so International Children's Day has been celebrated and sponsored globally. So few countries that celebrate June 1st as Children's Day are Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Estonia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, Uzbekistan are, as well as other former or current communist states, celebrate today as International Children's Day. Estimates tell us that around 140 million children are born annually. Alarmingly, 5 children die every day due to child abuse. 1 child in every 10 is involved in child labor because of the poor economic conditions, and 155 million children worldwide are victims of stunted growth because of malnutrition. Among the indexes of all continents, Africa has the worst index in the terms of child development and vulnerability. Children are our future. Children are seeds of our future. The better the nourished, the healthier the plant. The more we invest in them, the greater our future will be. The initiatives taken today are a guarantee that we are going in the right direction and our continued efforts will improve the lives of our children. It reminds us that every child in the world deserves the best life. Today is also commemorated as World Milk Day. From a cool glass of milk, hot butter being spread seamlessly across a toast or a heaping bowl of ice cream. World Milk Day celebrates its all. This day was organized by the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO in short, at the United Nations to celebrate the dairy industry and recognize milk as a globally important food. World Milk Day seeks to start a conversation on how nutritious, affordable, and accessible milk is around the globe, not to mention delicious. Though humans began to drink milk when the animals were domesticated in the Neolithic age, around 9,000 to 7,000 BC, lactose tolerance was lost in the adults for all humanity history before this age. Until a later genetic mutation allowed us to drink milk, early humans mostly ate fermented dairy products which were more easily digestible. As much as milk was worshipped, milk became important in many cultures, both for spiritual and logical reasons. For example, for ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Sumerians, milk was a key element in mythology. Some people in Western Africa believed the universe started with a single drop of milk. Mongolians traveled with dried horse milk that would be reconstituted and provide nourishment on long journeys. As much as milk was worshipped, it was also ridiculed. While early Japanese Buddhists mocked that those who consumed butter, and Northern Europeans were thought disgusting for consuming reindeer milk. In Rome, milk was thought to be a low-class beverage only to be consumed by farmers who had no other choice. But unfortunately, liquor was highly popular, and you know, we know the liquor doesn't provide any benefit, but also it affects the financial, health, well-being, and socio-economical ish, well-being of the person and also family. But unfortunately, the world is moving towards more of destruction and is taking up more of such activities like alcohol, smoking, and all unhealthy habits, which are creating a lot of diseases and disorders in the society. But we are not moving. Unfortunately, our knowledge is not being converted into wisdom. Because of that, we are remaining somewhere, though, in spite of being educated, we are still illiterates, or we are not able to use that knowledge acquired and not able to convert it into wisdom, so that we are moving towards a healthy and sustainable food, health, nutrition, and planet. That is why, milk, which is very much essential and highly nutritious, because our life starts with drinking of breast milk, which is fed by mother. But unfortunately, even that milk is also ridiculed in various places. That shows how much we have deviated from our own health and well-being and sustainability. And the history of milk also comes with industrialization. We have in India White Revolution, which talks about production of high yield of milk. And today, India stands one of the largest manufacturer and exporter of the milk in the world. While most countries and cultures have adopted milk, many places just weren't close enough to farms with milk to enjoy. So railways, suddenly urban demand for milk in places like London and Paris skyrocketed. Rural imports transformed milk into a big time market. Throughout the 1800s, there was much innovation around the milk, from breweries opening dairies to feed their spent grains to cows, to vaccines being invented by watching how milkmaids avoided smallpox. Milk was clearly had a huge impact on our society, but the demand and production of it have shifted dramatically in recent years. In 2016, milk was overproduced in several countries, and many, including China, put a stop to any milk imports. In recent years, many dairies have filed for bankruptcy as the trends are shifting towards alternative non-dairy milk. Due to COVID-19, dairy farmers have been dumping millions of gallons of milk per day. Who knows what will happen to the dairy next? But still, dairy has a great future ahead, because without milk, or even if we drink alternative milk also, milk is still required for the humans. After mammals are domesticated in Neolithic times, humans began to drink milk for sustenance, and Mongolians packed dried horse milk in a paste that can be reconstituted with water for a long journeys. It's like, milk paste. So our holy cows, every day a cow can produce around 6.3 gallons of milk. This adds up to 3,50,000 glasses of milk in a lifetime. And in a typical year, the average American will drink 25 gallons of milk per year. And to keep milk fresh for just little longer, a great trick is to add a little salt. The right ratio is 1 pinch of salt per quart of milk. Yearly, around 1,000 new dairy products are added to the market, so there is no shortage of dairy. As part of a milk conservation measure during World War II, home delivery of milk began in 1942. And milk is delicious and nourishes people globally. While not every country and culture drinks milk, the vast majority enjoy dairy and many have made it a key element of their cuisine. Some of the countries where milk is popular include India, Finland, Netherlands, Sweden, while milk is not a widespread beverage in North Korea or Liberia. Who doesn't love the first sip of a chilly glass of milk, the first spoonful of ice cream, or the warm embrace of a cup of hot cocoa or milk? Milk has transformed into a plethora of our most well-loved foods for a good reason, and dairy is delicious. Milk that has 2% or less is chock full of nutrients. We know that our moms have always said milk helps our bones grow, but milk actually carries many more benefits than that. It's packed with calcium, vitamin D, potassium, which are routinely underconsumed nutrients. Today is also commemorated at World Narcissistic Abuse Day to raise awareness about the effects and signs of narcissistic abuse. Often, the patterns and impacts of narcissistic abuse are not clear-cut due to its intangible nature and lack of research. Thus, the day is dedicated to providing education, support, and resource for survivors to build a better, greater understanding of how to help victims avoid abusers in the future and rebuild their mental health. It was initiated in 2016 by psychotherapist Bree Bonke as a campaign to highlight and educate public on the effects of narcissistic abuse and how signs can be spotted. The indicators of a mentally abusive relationship are not always clear. While physical abuse leaves telltale marks such as bruises, cuts, scars, emotional abuse is difficult to pinpoint due to its mainly verbal and mental nature. However, it can have a larger, longer impact on the victim that can affect them through the rest of their lives. The word narcissist itself is commonly used to describe anyone full of themselves, but its meaning goes deeper than that. Narcissism itself is a destructive, damaging pattern of behavior that can leave severe mental impacts on others. Victims of narcissistic abuse may have experienced things such as gaslighting, isolation, and neglect, and may be insulated or insulted regularly by a partner or friend or family member or even strangers or all. Sometimes more impressionable victims might not realize the abuse is happening as they might internalize this confusion, causing further mental damage and increasing their self-deprecation. Sometimes abusers do so because they suffer from actual personality disorders, namely narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, or antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, and many others. And they don't necessarily have to be. They may exhibit signs of antisocial behavior and inability to show sympathy or empathy to others, and an incredibly self-important nature that makes them actively restrict self-reflection, treatment, and change. The causes of developing these traits can range from cultural factors to the state of upbringing. Unfortunately, the effects of narcissistic abuse are relatively understudied, and statistics can be hard to come by. This makes putting an end to narcissistic abuse a challenge, but it is still possible to do so by raising awareness and educating people on what constitutes such abuse, how to identify abusers, and what can be done to help the victims and survivors. The effects of narcissistic abuse span a variety of mental issues like heightened anxiety, loss of self-worth, depression, cognitive problems such as memory loss or difficulty focusing, trust issues, self-harm, and even the development of post-traumatic stress disorder. These problems can severely damage the victim in the long run and might also affect those around them. Typical signs of narcissistic abuse include the over exertion of dominance, manipulation, intimidation, emotional coercion, humiliation, pathological lying, extreme jealousy, excessive guilt tripping, gaslighting, financial abuse, isolating the victim, lacking empathy for others, having unrealistic expectations, and an extreme sense of sense enlightenment. While there aren't any specific laws forbidding emotional abuse, it's a legal course of action in courts and is a valid basis for litigation. Of course, with this present now, more and more Mental Health Act and all other various acts are available. So the World Narcissistic Abuse Day founder, Pri Bronke, states that up to 158 million people in the United States are currently affected by the narcissistic abuse. The Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5, which is the latest version, says that the prevalence of the generational population suffering from an antisocial personality disorder is estimated to be at least 3.3%. Neurological studies show that narcissistic brains tend to exhibit signs of abnormality in their insular cortex, which is a region of the brain known to generate empathy. Narcissistic poeticus is the scientific namesake of the daffodil, the official name for a beloved flower. According to the experts, the most accurate depictions of narcissistic personalities in pop culture include the Lannister family from Game of Thrones, Jake Gatsby from The Great Gatsby, and the Amy June from Gone Girl. So this day raises awareness and shines the light on an issue that is rampant yet difficult to see. It helps us to understand why the abuse takes place, how to minimize its effects, and make us more aware of the importance of mental health. This day also lets us display our solidarity towards those who have been victims of all types of mental abuse. It shows them that they are not alone in fighting this, and help is always within an arm's reach. Because studies on the effects of narcissistic abuse are not as plenty as they should be, World Narcissistic Abuse Day can help inspire further research on the matter. While the internet is littered with tales from sufferers and survivors, more scientific research on the effects of narcissistic abuse can build further understanding of the long-term effects and can help and develop treatments. Today is also another important day, commemoration, which is World Reef Awareness Day, which helps to create awareness among various business communities and the general public about the fragile biological system of our ocean's coral reefs. This day unites people belonging to different backgrounds, including environmentalists, social activists, to come up with various ideas and techniques to protect the ecosystems of our reefs from deteriorating. The oldest corals appeared about 500 million ago or even earlier. Researchers suggest that they began as a plain solitary organisms and with time and constant environmental changes transformed into a beautiful coral reefs that exist today. During an ice age around 440 million ago, sea temperatures dropped at an exponential rate and a large number of corals began diminishing from the ocean. This is called Audiovisian Silurian extinction event around 410 million years ago. In the Devonian period, corals began to appear again. During the end of this period, stony corals started growing, which were a rare form of reef back then. Then around 350 million years ago, corals disappeared again due to unstable sea levels. 100 million years later, corals appeared once again, only to be wiped out once more by the Permian Triassic extinction 250 million years ago, where over 90% of the sea creatures were affected. Reduced oxygen levels and increased carbon dioxide in the sea caused this tragic extinction event. After disappearing and reappearing for another few million years, coral reefs finally reappeared 46 million years ago and disappeared for the last time during the mid-Eocene era. 20 million years later, they finally made a comeback in the form of Great Barrier Reef in Australia, which was found by British explorer Captain James Cook in 1770. Lately, some of the most beneficial reefs have been diminishing because of coral bleaching, rising ocean temperatures, and toxic pollution. Moreover, the use of harmful sunscreens and increased tourism are also considered threats to the well-being of the coral reefs. The Great Reef Expedition gives valuable insights into the reef ecosystem in between 1928 and 1929. The first mass coral bleaching events are noticed as a result of high levels of ocean temperatures in 1980. Due to the El Nino weather pattern and global warming, one-third of the total coral of the Great Barrier Reef is destroyed in 2016. Coral reefs are slowly diminishing due to harmful activities by coral mining, overfishing, and warm temperatures that lead to coral bleaching. Over 25% of the sea life that rely upon coral reefs may lose their habitat. Coral reefs are also a source of food and shelter for the survival of such marine species. Australia's Great Barrier Reef has lost more than half of its corals since 1995 due to coral bleaching. One of the main reasons behind coral bleaching is the Great Barrier Reef is rising ocean temperatures and excessive UV radiation. So organize a beach cleanup with your family and friends at your local beach. And regular sunscreen may contain ingredients that are harmful to our skin and marine life as well. Simply mix 4 tablespoons each of coconut oil, olive oil, and beeswax in a double boiler. Mix 1/8 cup of nano formulation of zinc oxide and let the mixture cool off and store it in the airtight jar until used, which acts as a very good sunscreen lotion. And the Great Barrier Reef is a home to over 1,500 different sea creatures. It is a way bigger than we think. The Great Barrier Reef is visited by more than 1 lakh divers. 1 crore divers annually. It is Australia's top tourist spot. And the Great Barrier Reef is among the 7 natural wonders of the world. The Great Barrier Reef is visited by the rare sea species like the humpback whale, loggerhead, and green sea turtles. It's a home for endangered species. And volunteers can learn reef diving and interact with reef experts, and it has its own volunteering program. Reefs provide food and shelter. Over 1 billion living beings depend on sea coral for food, including us, humans. And this day motivates us to discover new ways on how to protect our reefs from getting extinct. Coral reefs never grow in muddy water. Sea corals consume particles found in the sea, thereby making the sea water crystal clear. A sound reef ecosystem is crucial for the well-being of the fish life and therefore plays a vital role in the fishing industry as well. Coral reefs also has plenty of medicinal value and act as a key ingredient in many medicines to treat bacterial infections. This week is commemorated as RSPCA Week, which is an international event. It is a full form of Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Week, in short known as RSPCA Week, which is an annual celebration held in the United Kingdom from June 1st to 7th. The week-long celebration is held in the honor of millions of volunteers across the UK. When people come together to volunteer, it becomes easier to achieve common goals. RSPCA volunteers are dedicated to helping animals and bringing justice to animal cruelty victims. When people are made aware of this wonderful work of these volunteers, more of them are encouraged to take up volunteering duties too. The Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, RSPCA, was established in 1824. It was the first and largest animal welfare charity that rescues, rehabilitates, and finds home for animals in England and Wales. The organization consists of animal rescuers, rehabilitators, and caregivers who ensure the total well-being of animals. The RSPCA has a simple goal to help every animal in need with efforts and donations and empathy. Every animal can have a long and healthy life. The RSPCA operates rehoming centers, wildlife rehabilitators, and animal hospitals using donations. Local RSPCA branches also shelter rescued animals until they are rehabilitated or adopted by families. In addition, the pet clinics and animal hospitals offer treatments to the subsidized rates for those from lower income groups. RSPCA also investigate cruelty and organized crimes against animals. When you donate to RSPCA, you can help them campaign to update animal welfare legislation, affect global change, introduce international animal welfare laws, discuss the use of animals in laboratories, improve farm animal welfare, and it also helps to campaign to update animal welfare legislations, affect global change, introduce international animal welfare laws, discuss the use of animals in laboratories, improve farm animal welfare, and educate the public about animal needs. None of these things would be possible without the hard work of volunteers across the country. Animal cruelty cases are offenses with maximum of 6 months of jail time. So the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, RSPCA, was previously known as Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. The Royal Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, RSPCA, was previously known as the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, SPCA, before it gained royal patronage. In 1840, Queen Victoria allowed the organization to add royal to its name. "25% of the rescued animals in shelters are purebred dogs." So sometimes purebreds also end up in shelters too. An estimated 4 million animals are adopted from shelters annually, and almost 8 lakhs 10,000 sprays are returned by the caregivers. Fewer cats and dogs were adopted compared to previous years. Overcrowding. In 2020, saw low adoption rates. Fewer cats and dogs were adopted compared to previous years. And millions of animals die yearly because of overcrowding in shelters. So the small acts of volunteering with or without donating to RSPCA or any SPCA in your locality or in your district or state or nation go a long way towards saving many animal lives. This is an excellent example for how much small actions amount to significant changes. This week is also commemorated as Volunteers Week in United Kingdom. Is an annual celebration of the millions of people who volunteer throughout the UK. Small charities and larger, well-known organizations alike support and celebrate Volunteers Week, which brings together hundreds of It is natural for people to feel happy after helping someone. So volunteering might help you develop new skills and experiences and also boosting your confidence. These programs highlight and honor volunteers and the positive impact that they have on our communities. This event was first organized by Volunteering England in 1984 and now handled by NCBO, National Council for Voluntary Organizations. Volunteers Week has grown significantly each year with numerous events and volunteer projects planned throughout the week. The manifestation of a civic life has developed today as So most individuals have officially volunteered at a certain point in life with involvement varying over time. During the pandemic, volunteer pattern shifted dramatically with almost 1/5, 17% of the population or 9.2 million people saying they volunteer at least once in a month. Today is also commemorated as Dinosaur Day. Even though scientists have found many dinosaur fossils dating back millions of years in different parts of the world, there is still so much that people don't know about these majestic reptiles. It is a perfect time to increase our knowledge about different types of dinosaurs and how they look like and what they look like and what ultimately happened to them. Dinosaurs lived millions of years ago. They were reptiles and ancestors of the common lizards, snakes, turtles, and crocodiles that exist today. Dinosaurs lived the Mesozoic era of age of reptiles, which started about 252 million. Today is also, this entire week is commemorated as National CPR and AED Awareness Week. So this was first initiated in 2007 following a partnership between American Red Cross, the American Heart Association, and the National Safety Council to highlight the importance of learning CPR and AED techniques to save lives. CPR techniques. Knowing CPR techniques and how to properly use AEDs can be difference between life and death. For those who have experienced sudden medical emergencies, they know it only takes up to 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen for the brain to experience damage. Therefore, at the time of response and response execution, so knowing CPR techniques and how to properly use AEDs can be the difference between life and death and who have experienced sudden medical emergencies. It only takes up to 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen for the brain to experience damage. Therefore, the time of response and proper execution of these measures are crucial in potentially saving many lives around the world. Both actors and CPR and AEDs are useful in helping people who have suffered ailments such as cardiac arrest, asthma attacks, diabetes, strokes, and allergic reactions. The Sudden Cardiac Arrest Foundation notes that up to 356,000 cardiac arrests happen in US annually, with 90% of them are fatal and can take place anywhere, meaning that they can more people who know CPR are around, the better. Several states have also made it mandatory for workshops to have AEDs around the possible emergencies. Why do I? You will be surprised waiting for an emergency medical service worker, CMS, to arrive at the scene and deal with the matter will take time. If you or someone around you knows CPR or how to operate defibrillator, it can make an important difference for the patient who is in life or death. You could be even surprised at the willingness of strangers to come help when someone is experiencing a medical emergency. And you can be one of them. It's never pleasant seeing someone at the cusp of death, and so the actions of CPR trained individuals can help prevent emergencies from getting worse. All it takes is willingness to learn how. So we have seen the pandemic rise of the skyrocketing of cardiac issues, and many even young people are dying with cardiac health issues. We can see the first defibrillator. The first AED machine was invented by William Cohen in 1930s, and the mouth-to-mouth technique, Peter Safar and James Elam comes with the first mouth-to-mouth resuscitation technique, which develops into the modern CPR method in 1960. American doctor Leonard Cobb holds the first mass civilian CPR training event in the Seattle, teaching the CPR technique to 1 lakh people in the program's first 2 years in 1972. And the US Congress officially declares June 1st to June 7th as National CPR and AED Awareness Week, following suggestion from the American Red Cross, the American Heart Association, and the National Safety Council. And National CPR and AED Week becomes official since 2007. One CPR cycle comprises 30 chest compressions and 2 rescue breaths, with 1 cycle around 2 minutes, and AED is required if no response has been given after 5 cycles. After the AED is used, continue this process again until either help arrives or if AED successfully restores the heart rhythm. Chest compression should be done at 100 to 120 beats per minute. Songs such as Bee Gees, Staying Alive, and ABBA's Dancing Queen are widely accepted to have the perfect tempo required for CPR. So cardiac arrest takes very little time to completely affect the patient. So small window of time it takes between the attack and CPR administration is very crucial. When both CPR and AED are used, the cardiac arrest survival rate can improve drastically. So buy a defibrillator. If you know someone in your home or in community who is at a risk of sudden medical emergencies, having a portable defibrillator nearby would help prevent such situations from getting worse. It may not be the cheapest appliance to buy, but its benefits outweigh the cost. So in communities, we can have one. And AED usage within the first 3 minutes of sudden cardiac arrest increases the survival rate by over 80%. Ventricular fibrillation, VF, is the name of the abnormal heart rhythm that usually triggers cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest globally claims more lives than colorectal cancer, breast cancer, influenza, pneumonia, and influenza combined. So it's a serious killer. The main differences between a heart attack and cardiac arrest is that heart attack happens when the blood flow to the heart is blocked, while cardiac arrest is when the heart stops beating. Anyone of any age can experience sudden cardiac arrest, with up to 2,000 people under the age of 25 dying each year in United States because of it and also across the world. So this week highlights the importance of knowing CPR techniques and proper defibrillator use. Both techniques, when applied properly, have proven to save many lives over the years. It also highlights the importance of bystander actions when dealing with an emergency nearby. If a stranger near you is experiencing cardiac arrest or any kind of similar ailment, it is the duty of those around them to help them. If you know how to, doing so will help foster better relationships with communities. This month is also commemorated with various monthly awareness. Like this month is commemorated as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, which is an opportunity to spread the word about and discuss Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. Throughout the month, the Alzheimer's Association encourages people around the globe to support the movement of wearing purple and training their brains to fight the disease. President Ronald Reagan initiated the observance of Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month in 1983 to raise awareness about Alzheimer's and get people involved in the recognition of the diseases as well as the types of care required by someone from suffering it. Alzheimer's disease is named after Alois Alzheimer, but by his senior colleague, psychiatrist Emil Kraepelin, who used the term Alzheimer's disease in his book Psychiatry in 1910. So the electron microscope was invented by Germans Max Knoll and N. Schruska, which can magnify up to 1 million times, allowing researchers to study the brain in more detail in 1931. The Alzheimer's Association, the leading organization in the Alzheimer's care and research, is established with McJoram H. Stone as the founding president in 1980. The Food and Drug Administration approves Tacrine Cognex as the first drug targeted specifically towards Alzheimer's symptoms in 1993. So communities around the world hold public events and seminars, webinars to spread awareness about Alzheimer's. So take part of them and find out more about the disease and how you can contribute to the fight. Purple represents the fight against Alzheimer's. Share an image of you wearing purple and show your solidarity in the fight against Alzheimer's. Around the world, an estimated 47 people are living with Alzheimer's and other dementias, and if a change doesn't come by 2030, the number will grow to 76 million. A person develops Alzheimer's disease in the United States every 65 seconds. Almost once in a minute, every one person is developing Alzheimer's disease. In America, more than 16 million people take care of family or friends with Alzheimer's or dementia, and that too without a pay. And they are the caregivers. In the US, Alzheimer's is the sixth leading cause of death, and 6.2 million of those living with Alzheimer's disease are over 65. Alzheimer's or other dementias kill 1 in 3 seniors, and deaths due to disease are more than prostate cancer and breast cancer combined. And people with Alzheimer's or the dementia often withdraw from society and even family. This month promotes talking to them and reminding them that they are special. Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month is a way to propel research and find a cure for Alzheimer's disease. When more people come together, things are achieved faster. This month is also commemorated as Anti-Phospholipid Antibody Syndrome Awareness Month, which is a disorder that can lead to strokes or heart attacks by severe clotting. It affects an estimated 1 in 2,000 people in the United States. Early diagnosis of the condition can prevent these severe side effects, making the annual monthly observance extremely important. Antiphospholipid syndrome, in short known as APS, is when thrombosis or blood clots recur in any blood vessel of the body. The severity of resulting symptoms and other effects differ from person to person, depending on where the blood clot forms and organs affected. The syndrome occurs by itself or paired with another autoimmune disease, such as secondary antiphospholipid syndrome, semantic lupus erythematosus. The AFS Foundation of America, APSFA, was founded in 2005 and is the only non-profit healthy agency in the US that is dedicated to raising awareness of the disease. Unfortunately, despite being a major contributor to heart attacks, pregnancy, morbidity, thrombosis, and myocardial infarction, Christina M. Foreman, co-founder and the president of APSFA, believes that the syndrome does not receive attention and awareness crucial to combat APS. Delays in diagnosis or complete misdiagnosis is quite common. Coleman is an APS patient herself and counts raising awareness of this disorder among the significant achievements of the APS FA. She believed it was a time that APS has had an awareness month where broadcasts could be done about antiphospholipid antibody syndrome and accurate information can be disseminated. Like most autoimmune diseases, APS is 5 times more common in women than in men. Up to 50% of patients with APS also have systemic lupus erythematosus. 1 in 4 women with miscarriages may have antiphospholipid syndrome. It is the presence of antiphospholipid antibodies in patients while with recurring thromboembolism. Symptoms include memory loss, migraine, abdominal pain, and visual disturbances. So the main goal of APS research is to perfect treatment to thin the blood and reduce clotting. This month is also commemorated as Cataract Awareness Month. which promotes information about the eye condition that is leading cause of blindness in the US. While this is scary fact, fret not because cataracts are treatable with a simple surgery procedure which has a 95% success rate. This common eye condition mostly affects people over 40, but newborns can also suffer from cataracts either due to complications during pregnancy or the mother contracting diseases like German measles and chickenpox. The causes for cataracts in people above the age of 40 can range from diabetes, long-term eye diseases, and eye injury inflammation to factors like intense heat, hereditary influences, smoking, intake of certain oral steroids, and so forth. It was established in 1908 when a community of doctors realized that 30% of the cases of blindness in children were highly preventable or treatable, but no actions were being taken. Prevent blindness, a trailblazer in the eye care industry, went on to spearhead and get many legislations approved that would aid in preventing eye diseases in infants and age-related vision problems in adults. The US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in short known as CDC, estimates that around 30 million Americans suffer from cataracts. This figure is projected to grow to 39 million by 2032. This is alarming because cataracts are highly treatable, yet people continue to suffer through them due to lack of knowledge. Cataracts are an eye condition where the lens of one or both eyes becomes covered with cloudy areas. The impedes vision because the light entering your eyes is prevented from being bent by the lens of your eye due to cloudy film covering it. Symptoms of cataracts include seeing halos around the lights, faded colors, blurry vision, and trouble in driving, reading, or doing other tasks. Many people also suffer from depression and anxiety due to the stress they are facing because of their failing eyesight. The most successful treatment for cataracts is surgery, whereby the doctors remove the damaged lens and replace it with an artificial one. You can also prevent cataracts by regularly getting your eyes checked. This month is also commemorated as Celibacy Awareness Month, to raise awareness about staying celibate and voluntarily taking a vow of abstinence. So this month aims to encourage people to consider the benefits of celibacy until marriage or as a lifetime commitment. While the primary reasons that people choose to be celibate are usually religious ones, and many vow to the abstinent for any number of personal reasons. These reasons range from physical and mental health to personal and professional development and other activities that require a great deal of focus. In modern society, celibacy of all kinds is typically associated with religious reasons, although in actuality the reasons may vary. Historically, celibacy, which is a decision people take to be voluntarily unmarried or abstain from sexual activity, has been associated with religion and religious vows. A lot of cultures and religions across the world value celibacy as an essential behavior for religious and spiritual development. Religions like Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, and Christianity place a lot of value on celibacy as a lifelong vow for monks, nuns, and other religious leaders. Societies built on the religious values and principles of these and other religions such as Judaism and Islam also value celibacy until marriage for young people. Such societies function by conferring value to sexuality and sexual expression and expecting sexual expression to be reserved for marriage and a single lifelong partner. But now with the media influence and we see a lot of trends are changing. now even teenage pregnancies and premarital sex and dating, mating, and all sort of these things are widely becoming prevalent with the media involvement and also with the latest web series and movies and whatnot portraying sex, premarital sex and teenage pregnancy as a common factor or a trend, which is not so. There is no specific commandment in Christianity that recommends chastity and abstinence from sex for disciples of Christ. However, Paul the Apostle discussed chastity and its advantages. In addition, the reverence of Christ's mother, the Virgin Mary, drives the understanding of sexual abstinence and virginity being the ideal state for the disciple of God. Apart from religious reasons, people may choose to celebrate in order to be more thoughtful about their sexual experiences or shift their focus onto alternative priorities like personal or professional development. So people who take vows of celibacy may or may not be virgins. About 15 to 20% of couples enjoy celibate marriages. And while there are no confirmed studies, celibacy doesn't harm anyone's health. A great way to celebrate and understand celibacy is to try it for yourself. Take a month to try abstinence and experience its benefits. Celibacy and abstinence are often misunderstood among people. Take time to talk about abstinence this month and the reasons why people might choose it. If you know people who are considering celibacy but are unsure, take this time to counsel and support their decision. Offer information and a support system so that they can stick to their choice. A lot of people who attempt celibacy often find that it's a relief to not to have forced themselves to go through the motions. Celibacy is a personal decision and varies from person to person, with some people choosing to avoid all sexual activity, while others choose to limit their activities in some way. A lot of people find that they are able to focus better at work or in school when they are not always thinking about sex. When it is a voluntary choice, celibacy leads to great self-esteem and self-care. A short period of celibacy often makes sex more enjoyable for people for whom the act has become a rote. So we want to be more mindful and more conscious of our sexual activity. We think this month is a great way to become more mindful about our sex lives. We want opportunity to think about the professional lives and improve our own lives. We think this is a great way to remove distractions from our lives. We think that it's become too easy to lose ourselves in the mindless sexual activity. We want to feel empowered and choose our partners with care. As already commemorated, this week is also commemorated as Child Vision Awareness Month. Since children have no idea whether they can see clearly or not, in fact, they have problems with their vision. They tend to accept their blurred version of the world, assuming it is in reality. They can't figure out why they can't see the board from back of the classroom, nor they can understand why they are unable to spot their friends during lunchtime. Yes, a weak vision can cause a child to suffer academically and socially. So you can make a difference. All you have to do is spread awareness for the cause. This month is also commemorated as Child Awareness Month. Set aside to celebrate and focus on children, as children reflect our greatest hope as a nation, and childhood is a critical time for all. It is the stage in our lives that would set the course for our overall social, emotional, and physical health, as well as economic circumstances. If, in fact, young children at the beginning of their learning stage who receive a high-quality education see tremendous dividends for the rest of their lives. This includes higher academic performance in later stages, increased chances of attending college, higher lifetime earnings, and reduced likelihood of being involved in crimes. Every child deserves to be valued and cherished. As parents and well-wishers, we have no greater responsibility than to instill the hope of better tomorrow for our younger generation. This month is also commemorated as Cucumber Month, as the cooling properties of cucumbers make them ideal for the hot summer months. Its refreshing properties make it ideal, adding to beverages, to detox or just to sip and enjoy. Takes quite some time for the heat to penetrate through cucumbers, which is why they are often so cool and refreshing. Cucumbers are also used for treating some skin ailments, especially when mixed with other ingredients such as aloe vera and lemon. An amazing versatile vegetable with tons of different uses from culinary to beauty. Cucumbers are more than just cool. 95% of a cucumber is water content, making it summertime favorite. Cucumbers are closely related to zucchini, pumpkins, and even watermelons. Cukes are a common variety of cucumber that is found in salads and grown in home gardens. There are many varieties of cucumber, the most popular being Persian, pickling, and English cucumbers. They are available year-round. Cucumbers are broadly categorized as either slicing or pickling varieties, with most varieties used as both. The types vary in size and shape, and the color ranges from dark green to pale whitish green. Lemon cucumbers are found with bright yellow seeds. Persian cucumbers have edible seeds that are easy to chew and digest. The peel of these cucumbers is often waxed to seal in moisture. English cucumbers are also known as gourmet, seedless, or bulbless cucumbers. This type has tiny seeds that don't require removal. The shape is also longer and thinner and usually shrink wrapped to lock the moisture in it. Cucumbers go bad in warm temperatures quickly. They can be stored in the refrigerator crisper for up a week. Unwaxed cucumbers lose moisture rapidly and must be wrapped tightly in plastic. So the largest cucumber ever measured is 67 inches long and weighed 154 pounds. And cucumbers are both anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Cucumbers are also used as air fresheners and for removing odor in small spaces. Packed with antioxidants and water and so delicious when pickled, cucumbers are great for the human body and keep us hydrated. Get some cucumbers and hydrate on this day. And we love any food item that can help us beat the heat in summer. So cucumber tops the list. This month is also commemorated as Effective Communication Month. The key to any relationship is communication. Foster good communication skills, dedicated to highlighting the importance of good communication in our personal and professional lives. This month aims to get people to enhance their skills in this area. People have been communicating in some way, shape, or form for centuries, and we see this evidence all around us. Morse code, a code used for sending messages where each letter and number is represented by short dashes or dots. It is one of the earliest examples of technological communication. The first written forms of communication in the world can be seen on the drawings that were recorded on the mediums of the time: animal skins, cave walls, pottery, and wood. The communication consisted of representation of daily life, such as hunting, food, and later religion. Communication has always seen innovation, right from the humble telegraph. History shows that how technological communication has evolved and become increasingly effective to bring us to the digital era where we live in today. It began with the invention of the personal computer and later the creation of cell phone. Today's communication sees people frequently turning to apps and social media, making it trickier to gauge the effectiveness of modern communication. So there are three elements of effective communication. Every human communication interaction, be it face-to-face, written, by telephone, or by other means, has three critical components. First is sending communication, receiving communication, and the feedback. Maintain a practice of listening to others and learn to speak non-verbally too. Another key principle is to know your audience before engaging in communication. Major pioneers in communication field include Alexander Graham Bell, Martin Cooper, Vic Hayes, and Mark Zuckerberg. Because of these people, we are able to communicate in many innovative ways. So we learn better ways to communicate, take professional courses in business communication for your professional relationships, master the art of thinking before speaking to nurture personal relationships, and generally improve your skills with various fun exercises like repeating tongue twisters or singing along to complicated lyrics. This month is also commemorated as Fireworks Eye Safety Month. Fireworks are part of many celebrations worldwide, but they can hurt you if you don't take precautions. Injuries to the eyes are common. These injuries may result in permanent damage, causing blindness. Chemical and thermal burns could lead to partial blindness or chronic eye problems. In some severe cases, fireworks can cause fatal injuries. Fortunately, you can also avoid this by observing some basic safety measures. Small things like keeping a distance, wearing protective glasses, and keeping a fire extinguisher close at hand should prevent injuries and save your trip to the hospital. Fireworks can cause permanent eye damage by rupturing the eyeballs, causing chemical and thermal burns and the corneal abrasions or retinal detachments. So wear protective eye gear such as safety glasses and maintain a barrier between yourself and the frameworks. Run cool water over your eye for at least 15 to 20 minutes before doing anything else. And you can also use a saline solution from an eye wash kit if a spark hits your eye. Fireworks are explosives. Only experts should handle some types and models. Do your research to know what's safe for home and what's better off at theme parks, concerts, or carnivals. Most people should stick to the consumer fireworks made for general public. Strontium and lithium make red fireworks. Titanium and magnesium produce silver. Sodium makes yellow fireworks and copper makes blue, reportedly the most complex color. So fireworks use different materials for different colors with different elements. Alchemists in ancient China were trying to brew an elixir granting immortality. When they mixed sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter, they inadvertently created gunpowder. the main ingredient in the first manufactured fireworks, and fireworks were a mistake. When you break down the colorful explosions, you can see a chemical reaction between an oxidizer, a fuel source, and a mixture of elements that produce colors we love. So prevention is always better than cure. Many people think fireworks are relatively harmless, although they are essential explosives. Spreading awareness about the importance of safety and dangers of improper handling helps prevent thousands of injuries caused by fireworks each year. This week is also commemorated as Fireworks Safety Month. It aims to spread information about the hazards associated using fireworks and safety. And this month is also commemorated as International Surf Music Month. And this month is also commemorated as Entrepreneurs Do-It-Yourself Marketing Month. The goal of this initiative is to stimulate small business owners to promote their brands by creating with own marketing campaigns without the need for an expert marketing team. The idea is for entrepreneurs to take the month of June to focus on their publicity and outreach and make their own plans to improve it. This month is also commemorated as Cancer from the Sun Month. And the main goal is to educate and assist individuals in learning about cancer prevention measures, early detection, and also treatment. It also aims to educate people on the importance of avoiding excessive exposure to the sun's rays. So examining your skin for suspicious changes is another means of detecting cancer early. Squamous cell carcinoma (SCC) is among the most common types of skin cancer. It usually affects body regions that suffer damage from the sun's UV rays and training pets. The World Health Organization lists cancer as one of the leading causes of death worldwide. There is a membership-based organization based in Geneva that is dedicated to the global fight against cancer and the advancement of medical research. Under its auspices, the first International Cancer Day was held in Geneva, Switzerland. And many well-known organizations, cancer societies, and treatment centers also supported this initiative. Since then, there are numerous types of cancer, various colors and symbols used. This month is also commemorated as Audio Book Appreciation Month. Audiobooks have made reading on the go easier and makes books accessible to those with poorer vision, attention span issues, or low literacy levels. With the help of audiobooks, reading in unfamiliar languages has also become easy. It's easy to pick up from where you left it off. Different colors. And today is also commemorated as Dinosaur Day in US. Even though scientists have found many dinosaur fossils dating back millions of years in the different parts of the world, there is still so much that people don't know about these majestic reptiles. It's a perfect time to increase our knowledge about different types of dinosaurs, what they look like, and what they ate, and ultimately what happened to them. Like they disappear, humans are also soon going to get disappeared because of our acts. And we are not focusing on sustainable development. So it is creating a lot of issues. Even many species became extinct in similar way because they have abused the other species and resources on the planet. Similarly, we humans are also in the same journey towards our own destruction. Dinosaurs lived millions of years ago. They were reptiles and ancestors of common lizards, snakes, turtles, and crocodiles that exist today. Dinosaurs lived during the Mesozoic era or age of reptiles, which started about 252 million years ago. The first complete dinosaur skeleton to be found was in Uganda in 1878. Dinosaur stems from the word terrible lizard in Greek. The name was invented by a famous scientist called Richard Owen in 1842. And India is also was the land of dinosaurs. And even recently, many dinosaur eggs were also found in the excavation in India. Since they were cold-blooded, dinosaurs could not have survived without the warmth from the sun. Many scientists now agree that 46 million years ago, a huge meteorite struck the earth and it created a gigantic cloud of dust and cut off the sunlight for months, maybe even for years, which led to the eventual decline of the earth's temperature. So dinosaur skeletons in museums are plaster cast molded from real bones. Dinosaur fossils have been found on all 7 continents, even in Antarctica. The longest known dinosaur is the Diplodocus, whose skeleton is up to 79 feet long. The Shandong Tianyong Museum of Natural History is the longest dinosaur museum in the world with over 1,000 fossilized dinosaurs. Fossilized feces of dinosaurs are studied to understand the diet and body function. By studying dinosaurs, we get to learn about various biological organisms that have evolved over the years. So their history highlights the extinction crisis. Through the history of dinosaurs, we can try to come up with ways to help our planet stay resilient against environmental changes and save endangered species from extinction. Finally, today is also National Go Barefoot Day. It's a great opportunity for us not only enjoy the feeling of walking around barefoot, but also supports a charity that strives to provide underprivileged children with shoes. Often we don't realize how privileged we are to have something as simple as shoes to wear. So it's imperative to take cognizance of our privilege and give to those in need. An unfortunate Indian Ocean tsunami disaster in 2004 left many adversely affected by the event and drove them towards poverty. In an endeavor to help those victims, Souls for Souls created National Go Barefoot Day. Since the inception of this cause, there has been unprecedented and overwhelming support, with 40 million pairs of shoes being donated across the world. People are encouraged to help and bring about joy in someone else's life through the simple act of donating a pair of shoes. The feedback form for today's sessions have been shared in the chat box. We request everyone, the registration form link has been shared in the chat box. We request those who have not registered for today's webinar can register, and those who have registered and those who have not yet registered also, they can fill the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls in Zoom. It is mandatory to get your certificate, to register and attend, and also provide feedback. So yesterday it was World Parrot Day, which includes 398 species of birds divided into 92 genera. The order Pisciformes. Parrots are mostly found in tropical and subtropical regions. The order of Psittaciformes is subdivided into 3 superfamilies. The Psittacidae, also known as true parrots, and cockatoos, and Strigopedia, which are also known as New Zealand parrots. 1/3 of all parrot species are currently endangered, making them the birds with the highest aggregate extinction risk than any other bird group. Parrots have a pantropical distribution, with several species also living in temperate regions of the southern hemisphere. Some characteristic features of parrots include strong curved beaks, an upright stance, strong legs, and clawed feet. A large number of parrots are vividly colored, with some being multicolored. In the visual spectrum, most parrots exhibit little to no sexual dimorphism. They are most variable sized bird order concerning their length. Parrots from India, Africa, and South America were some of the most common imports from these exploration trips. Not only are parrots colorful and easy to domesticate, but they also provided relatively easy transportation on the long, comfortable sea voyages back to Europe. Only a few people were aware of the needs of the parrots, and this ignorance resulted in the death of many birds in the transit. However, parrots did much better than more delicate bird species. Most parrots can talk, and many parrots do with training, but some parrots may never speak a word simply because of their individuality. Basically, there is a lot of research going on, but we call it as a parroting. So whatever we tell, parrots repeat it. And some parrots associate some words with the actions. So with that, we feel that parrots are also learning, but it's an association that parrots do. Of course, there is a lot of further research that needs to be validated. And parrots can fly except for the kakapo, which is the largest parrot. However, most pet parrots do not fly much because they aren't in the wild. They are not used of so much flying. So parrots do live very long, with an average lifespan of being 35 to 50 years. Parrots' beaks are extremely strong, and it is said that they can be so strong enough to cause harm to a metal cage. So they can even cause harm to metal rods and wires. The biggest parrot is Kakadu, based in New Zealand, weighing about 9 pounds, but being unable to fly because of its weight. In 1995, a parrot named Puck was in the Guinness World Records for knowing up to 1,700 words. Parrots out in the wild can keep mating all through their lives. Parrots are very fun birds to keep as pets, if not for any other reason, but for the fact that you can teach them to speak. Parrots are relatively easy to train. Most of the time, they learn by imitation. So ensure that you repeat all the words you want your parrot to learn. Parrots are beautiful because of their various bright colors. They're just really aesthetically pleasing as birds go. So March 31st, yesterday, was also commemorated as Web Designer Day. In the same way, the history of a building is the history of its construction. The history of web designers is just the history of web and how it came to be. Someone has to spend time developing the first website ever since the internet was conceived. We eventually built dozens of video and audio protocols as well as many web browsers. Chat rooms arose and YouTube was born, and all of which were developed by a quiet army of folks who got to sit back and watch us reap the benefits of their labors. We rarely know their names though. We all know Mark Zuckerberg creating Facebook, but behind the scenes, an army of nameless developers keep the service functioning. Web designers don't only build the gorgeous sections, they also produce all of the little bits and pieces and keep a site functioning in the background. And they typically have varied specialties. They channel their creativity into creating the alternate world we are all come to rely upon. Without web designers, the world would surely be far more uninteresting hunk of dirt. This observance allows us to recognize the important work they do, whether it is creating an e-commerce store or social platform. We cannot ignore the important role these heroes play in modern age. So don't forget to appreciate web designers for their efforts on Web Designer Day. They deserve all the thanks we can give them. Tim Berners-Lee, a computer scientist at Sun, developed the idea of a database of hypertext links to allow individuals to transmit data and interact across a network. Due to various advancements in mobile devices, it has become more common to access our web on the go than on a desktop. The internet and the World Wide Web are not the same things, even though they are frequently used interchangeably. Many websites from early days of the internet have gone black, but the first one, which Berners-Lee launched from a lab in the Swiss Alps in 1991, is still operational. At the Swiss lab where they work, an IT developer took a photo of a comedy band called Les Horrible Cernuts. It became the first image to be shared on the internet. Nothing beats the next fad except the one after that. Web designers are at the heart of creating the innovations we come to depend on today. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. And thank you everyone for joining us. And see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same link with different topics to be covered. And before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form in the form of polls, which is available only on Zoom platform. And we have shared the registration link for today's webinar. And it is same for all the daily webinar series. And when there are special occasions like conferences, workshops, symposiums, there will be a different link. Otherwise, for registration forms. Otherwise, the joining link is same, timings are same. You can join daily and you can keep attending. Don't worry about certificates. Whenever they are released, you can download it. No need to worry about the certificates. You keep registering daily and keep attending and gain a lot of insights and wonderful information. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.